In portfolio allocations, for instance, linear programming can be used to help a financial manager select specific industries and investment vehicles. With regard to operation management, production scheduling, management science techniques can be applied to scheduling inventory and capacity problems. Production managers can deal with multi-period scheduling problems to develop low-cost production schedules. Production cost, inventory holding cost, and changes in production levels are among the types of variables that can be considered in such analysis. In HR, workforce
या जूम
assignment,
में करो.
workforce assignment problems can also be solved with management science techniques. For examples, when some personnel has been cross-trained and can work in more than one department, linear programming can also be determined optimal staffing assignments. After 1970s, this positive quantitative traditional management science became subject to critical assault from those who wanted to broaden the impact of the discipline. Alternative management science approaches were born: soft skill, soft system thinking, organizational cybernetics, and critical management science are succeeded in establishing themselves. The existing of these alternative strands of work alongside traditional management science raises important questions about about the future development of the discipline and profession. Now, we all work forward for the thought-provoking lecture session from Dr. Saikat Mitro, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MACAUT. I do hope that my students and also we learn more things from Dr. Saikat Mitro, and Dr. Saikat Mitro, the lecture from Dr. Saikat Mitro will enhance our knowledge domain. Over to the respected Vice Chancellor of MACAUT, Professor Dr. Saikat Mitro. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Professor Don, for introducing me. And I can see the there's several names over here, particularly the problem in these digital the lectures or webinars. Most of the times, who are at the audiences that that is not visible. But I can see Madam Brototi Bhattacharya, but and most of this for most of these other attendees, their videos are muted. So from the name which is visible here, Mr. Chandrajit Mitra, Indrani Don, I can read out the names. Seshtha Banerjee, all the names are not coming. Saurabh Ghosh and all over there, you can see a series of names are here. But okay, it's a great thing to be amongst you, at least digitally. You see, the one of the problem of this webinars or digital format is for the last we are the pioneers for this introducing webinar in a big way, perhaps in India, because when this COVID pandemic situation by induced lockdown process started in the last year March, we within a few days we started this a series of webinars, and probably by this time we completed several hundreds, maybe 400 and 500 webinars, and we started using Zoom platforms. We were the first among all these these education institutes to use this Zoom platform in a big way, and after this spending, after organizing there's so many webinars, and I'm spending almost 1 year in this situation. Whatever our observation and our understanding is that you see, webinar or digital platform has certain advantages. Definitely, you see the biggest advantage is speakers from any part of the world can be connected, and you can have a larger numbers of audience. You can make it this streamed at YouTube, at Facebooks and other social medias. But at the same time, the problem is until and unless it is supported by this proper dose of graphics, animation, multimedia, and all these, these backend activities, these communications and these, this thrust of these lectures and all these things, thrust of messages, sometimes becomes not so effective. What happens in physical mode, that has a clear advantage. You can see this peer who are the audience, you can contact with them, you can have eye-to-eye contact, you can use your entire body, which you call kinesthetics, to make a point, this more prominent. So all these, our whenever we're trying to communicate, it is not only our, these languages or our lip movement, our entire body movement, our entire, this kinesthetics that come into role, and that makes the point, this more, this understandable and more prominent. However, in this time, this is the right time to because I preferred this quote written by Charles Dickens in the forward of A Tale of Cities. It was the best of time, it was the worst of time. So the best of time is this, lot the technological, these tools and gadgets which are available for making all these things, this at least, this continuing in this disruptive scenario. And the worst of this thing is this this physical connectivity, this the warmth of, this physical presence and all these things that has certain to some extent been lost. And there are other, there could be other interpretations of all this, because what my belief is, these two lines, these are applicable at different parts of time in the history of the world so far. Now, if we look at the management science, in the last, this 1 decade, perhaps, in the entire world, there was a phenomenal and tremendous change. And we call ourselves, people like us who were born in the last century, we call ourselves digital immigrant. We immigrated from that, that place, that era of black and white, that era of, these solid state television systems, these radios and all these things, the battery mobiles, migrated, they immigrated to this era, digital era. And those who were born either at the beginning of this century or just before this century, they're described as Generation Z, Millennium Generation, something like that. And they are called digital native. This is one thing. Second is, you see, this time, this particular phase after 2000, this 5, 10 and onwards, whatever happened in the entire industrial scenario, we are calling it a total transformational change in the practices, in the form of appearance of Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 means, this there are basically 3 pillars, or this remote work process, robotics, automations, and this analytics. And this has impacted most of these manufacturing sectors in the developed country and started to impact the manufacturing sectors in developing countries as well. And because of this, we need to, this reconfigure, we need to reset our, our knowledge, our perceptions of managing the entire things which we did earlier. Right now, necessity, this has arrived. The thing is this, when, this, you will have, these automated processes with very less manpower, then the concepts of, these applications of human, this management in production systems, which was there at 20, 30, 40 years before, maybe not relevant now. Number one. Number two is, this in marketing. The traditional way of doing marketing things in the era and the time of digital marketing and social marketing, the entire concept is different. So we need to relook into all these things from a different perspective. Whatever there, that's why most of the times I feel embarrassed when people introduce me with all my degrees and whatever we have done earlier. You see, here Ramakrishna Mission, these sadhus, they have a policy. They do not want to reveal their purvashram or purvarag. So I also feel these things because the thing is, this is pertinent in this sense. There is a time for learn, unlearn, and relearn. And whatever we have learned and in the earlier times may not have relevant these times. So talking about all these achievements and all these things,
it sounds to be, this, for me, it sounds like, these hollow things. And the thing is this, you see, this is the time we need to, this relearn many things. We need to, this understand many things from a different perspective. And for that, an open mind is required. That's why one of the reasons is, of the late, many of the top-notch organizations of the world, for example, Google, they have started a culture or practice of recruiting manpower without formal qualification. Because of this fact, this formal qualification, whatever we are achieving after passing out from the university, that is capturing a record of that time only. But at this time, everything is changing so fast. Whenever a student is getting graduated, becoming graduate, this graduate from an education institute, within a very short, the shortest possible time, the entire, these things are getting changed. That's why this is a period of continuous upgradation, the time for continuous upgradation. And if we do not upgrade ourselves, we will definitely downgrade. This is one thing. Second is, the thing is, here, another point is there. There's, so far I can remember, that was in Alice in Wonderland. There were one line was there, if you want to move forward, then you have to run at this place. That means if you do not run at this particular place, you do not make yourself dynamic, then you will be lagging behind. So that's why this is the time for, this continuous, this upgradation, continuous, this adoptions of innovative practices and this embracing of all these things which are happening in at different parts of this world and at this country. Now, our, this way of learning thing is, management science is no exception. Our way of learning, first, this learn a lot of things, then we try to apply this at practical fields. There are two concepts. One is, this the concept is something, this is also valid in management science also, because there is a concept of design thinking and there is a concept of, you see, whatever we have developed or in the top from a product, we want to sell it in the market. Some development, irrespective of customers' requirement, maybe new things. There are two approaches. These two approaches are acceptable. Some new things we conceive, we design, we develop, and then try to sell out at the market. This is one concept. Another concept, and that's why all the big innovative things are coming in this way. And another concept is, which is more relevant in country like India, we have to understand the requirement of the people, the society. And then accordingly, we need to design all the entire things. And that is the fundamental concept of design thinking. After gaining empathy, understanding the requirement, then ideating the things, then designing prototype, testing it for the requirement of whether it is satisfying the customer's requirement or not. So this is more relevant for our country. Though design thinking Stanford's, they have started this course, but this practice was there in India for a long time. Now in India, if you look at the entire economy, most of the part of the economy is dominated by our unorganized sector. Unorganized sector, they are contributing the maximum part. And what is this unorganized economy? This is the economy which is in and around us. This is not restricted within the walls of the corporates and big manufacturing units. This is available at roadside, this is available at marketplaces, at small tier 2, tier 3 cities and everywhere. Maybe in the form of, this roadside tea seller, vegetable vendors, these grocery owners. So they are contributing in a gross way to the economy to a significant extent. And there, you see, we have never, there are certain, this of the late, there are certain, this discussions on these particular issues. But, and from university, in the year 2017, we started one, this a program that is Success stories of unknown India. This is a problem of digital systems. Is most of the times this unwanted noises and sound comes. this this whenever we are trying to get something at the negative part of also it, we need to this adjust and accommodate. So that's why blended system is the best way. How far we can blend these physical and digital systems, which I was talking at the beginning of this webinar. So this of the late in 2017 we started a program, Success Stories of Unknown Indian. The mandate of this is all the management institute which is under our fold, our affiliation. We gave them the mandate that all the students along with their faculties, they will support the activity of all those the entrepreneurs, of all those business people. Maybe tiny, it is in the form of this small, micro, tiny, and whatever it is, unorganized. Support them and to see how best their business can be developed. And they need to present these case studies in the university at certain time. We continued it for 1 or 2 years, but after that, because of several reasons, we had to abandon it. But we are planning to reintroduce it again. And the acid test of your knowledge, of your management skill, that will be done if you can support the endeavor of a person who is doing this very this small business, not recognizable by any this elite class, the academics and all these things, to support their activities and to make the business this more profitable, to make this turnover and all these things more, maybe in terms of this designing some things, in terms of making more this their marketing things this more proper, their all these production systems more automated, into the all sorts of whatever the concepts of managements that need to be applied there for making it more prominent and visible. This was the mandate. I think this is very much required to work for the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, BOP. Because you see, these Indian systems, this all the times we target at the top part, the apex of the pyramid, but the maximum part, the base and the foundation of the pyramid, the bottom of pyramid, there lies the crores of population. And our management knowledge should be targeted, should be used for making this quality of all these things. Now, whatever the practices, whatever the their status of their lives, their business status, and all these things, that needs to be improved. So this is one. But at the same time, here also we need to take a blended approach. This is more or less some associated with this social empathy and these types of attitudes. But at the same time, we need to manage industry 4.0, and for that, what is required? For that, we require to required to have a better understanding of artificial intelligence, because it is going to disrupt all these existing business practices. We need to have a greater understanding of cloud technology, because this remote work process and entire things that is happening at cloud only. And that's why we need to understand how this cloud can be managed. We need to understand the cyber security that needs to be managed properly for safeguarding, for all these things, activities, for making our entire systems, this more smooth and more continuous without having, facing the disruptions. We have to understand the concept of blockchain, making the entire, these systems more, they secure, more, to introduce more sanctity in the entire transaction systems. Then we need to understand this importance of data science, how we can handle big data, how we can handle, this big data for analytics and to get meaningful insight of the entire business. This is very much required also. So the management students of present time, they need to have, this a certain level of knowledge, acceptable level of knowledge in these areas for applications of their management skills for the betterment of the industries and for the self-development. This is required. Next, you see, if we look at an Indian scenario, the two most important area which need to be properly managed. These are our food sector, or in a broader sense in agricultural sectors, and our healthcare sector. Because of this fact, if we look at our the United Nations statistics, in hunger index, India is occupying one of the bottom position. It is an absolute case of mismanagement. Because in India, you see this country, so many rivers, there's these rivers are there, the fertile soils are there, natural, this environment is there, this conducive climate is there, manpower is there for working with the entire thing. Still, we are not in a position to supply food for in the entire 130 crore population, 2 square meals. This is nothing but mismanagement. Similarly, is healthcare. In healthcare, how we are, we were unprepared, that we could understand at the period of COVID. We were talking about telemedicine, remote healthcare systems and all these things, but that did not get until and unless COVID hit us. We understood now the importance of all these things, and that requires, these large, these significant applications of management in managing the remote healthcare processes in hospitals, in different health centers, in managing the technologies and all these things. So that are the new areas. In agriculture, we need to embrace all the latest state-of-the-art technologies. Apart from agricultural engineering, soil science, biotechnology, now in US, in countries like Middle East, Israel, you see, a few years before, when Israeli Prime Minister came to India, he was talking about, this how they could convert the barren Israel soil to one of the fertile soil for making, these commodities, agricultural crops production being exportable. And when a country like Israel, without any natural blessings in terms of, this shortage of fertile soils and all these things, they can do it. In Middle East and Dubai also, they created the Garden of Eden by application of technology. And we are not, this in a position to take the maximum benefit of whatever, this nature has given us. So that's why we need to apply the technology. The technology is called precision farming or precision agriculture or smart farming. In US, in Australia, in other countries, these are occupying larger portions of the agricultural activity. In India, you will not find this. And that is a big big ecosystem is required. This technology, management, all these things, and there, how best we are adopting all these skills, we are nurturing all these knowledges for the betterment of our agricultural productions. That is a challenge, and that we need to bring to our curriculum for making, this management science and management learning knowledge more useful for the development and growth of this country. This is second things. Next is, if we look at our, this Indian context, even 20, 30, 40 years before, land was abundant. So there was no, this problem in setting up big industries. Big industries mean what? Big industries mean industries like, this iron and steel industries, cement industries. One of the problems of this one of the advantage of these big industries is they produce significant quantity of products for servicing to this nation. Number one. Number two, they had large employability. So the areas where these industries used to, get established, there, all the quality of life of the nearby people that were improved. But what are the problems? Problem is now land is a scarce item because population is growing exponentially. So land is not that much available, which was there 20, 30, 40 years before. Land is going to be a scarce item. For big industries, huge water is required, and what is going to be a scarce item? Already we are seeing that this water crisis is being felt at different parts of this country. There are tensions, this between the states. There are tensions between the countries. We are observing this. So water is not that much available right now in abundance, which was there even 2-3 decades before. Third is all these big industries are pollution generating. So there is a pressure from these environmentalists, and that is affecting the health of this population, larger section populations. Fourth is all these big industries, their employability is not that which was there even 20, 30, 40 years before, because of this industry 4.0 concept, because of this massive penetrations of automation. So when this is not the scenario, then what is the alternative? The alternative is we need to go for more startups, more micro and small industries, knowledge-based industries, and that requires a different set of management for all these things. Even instead of one big industries, maybe a numbers of the small startups that can have less pressure on environment, less pressure on other factors, and at the same time more employability. But you see, if you look at this Indian startup situation, there is a report published by IBM Institute for Business Values and Oxford Economics. The report says 90% of Indian startups fail in the first 5 years. Why? The reason that has been identified, the reason is lack of exactly needed innovation. If we look at the startup scenario of the entire world, you see, there are among the top 10 countries, these countries, or 10 cities which are considered as startup hubs. There is no place for India. Top 10 cities, out of top 10 cities, most of the cities are from US. These are Silicon Valley, these are Seattle, New York City, Chicago, Boston. Then there are cities from Israel, Tel Aviv, cities from UK, London, Berlin, even Singapore is there. India is not there among the top 10 cities of startup. Of course, Bangalore's name is there as a form of registered startup city, but not in the first top 10 list. Why this is so? Because of this fact, if we look of our culture of patent and copyright and intellectual property right management, you see, if we give the statistics in terms of the patent, let us consider countries from Asia only. Japan. If Japan produces 45,000 patent, China produces 30,000 patent, Korea produces 15,000 patent, India in that context produces only 1,500 patent. So this is one of the this biggest bottleneck or obstacles in making this culture of lack of exactly needed innovation. We have, you see, there are lots of comments. Ratan Tata, he was lamenting, in India, actual disruption, actual innovation is not happening. This is not happening in India because whatever we are doing in the form of startups, that is only copying. For example, Uber was there, and that was copied in the form of Ola. Airbnb was there, that has been copied in the form of Oyo. Amazon was there, that has been copied in the form of Flipkart. Spotify was there, that has been copied in the form of Ghana.com. You see, this copying part we can do, but original innovation out of which we can take pride that we have developed this, these innovative things for taking control of the entire world, that has not happened. You see all the chain stores like, these food stores, which are these one? KFC, McDonald's, this Pizza Hut, all these things. They have entered India and they have given, this franchise to, this Indian, these local business people, and they are running these shows. But from our Indians, this situation, this context, we could not flood the world with our product, original Indian product. And that is one of the biggest problem of our, these startups. And here we see we need to manage the entire things. We need to apply your management skills for making these startup things more viable, more profitable, more sustainable. Now, if we look at these other aspects, you see, there's so many things are there, and maybe sometimes I may lose coherency because many points are coming to my minds, and I'm continuing with all these things. But kindly bear with me. So I'm trying to recollect the points is there. This, you see, what is required now? The requirement for India is what I believe in business also. The concept is coming in the form of light asset management. Light asset management means you need to reduce your overhead cost, and you have to need to spend more on your operation cost. I was listening that the introductions given by initially that was given by this your faculty regarding your Calcutta Business Schools. It is 15 acres or 50 acres, whatever it is, in last screen, all these things. Is it this asset, big asset, is going to be a liability if it cannot be capitalized to make these entire things this substantially profitable. Of the late the culture is don't go for this developing big assets. Work for these assets which are lying idle, and try to invest on your operation cost. I'm giving one example. Now this is the time of edge computing. What is this edge? Edge computing, 5G net, this is the entirely different concept. Edge computing means cloud computing. We know cloud computing is this is a virtual server where your entire things, this hardware, softwares that can be configured, that can be hosted. But the sending to cloud and retrieving from cloud, it takes time, and it has a cost, and this electricity cost is very high. That's why you see in banking sectors, when ATMs was established, people thought that it will be these cost savings and it will bring more efficient systems. But now what happens in the banking sectors, these ATMs and all these things, that becomes a liability because of this power consumptions. Now for edge computing, the concept is whatever is there. For example, you have your device, your hardwares, your laptop, your mobile, your all people are there. They have these numbers of gadgets, but we are not using this entire capacity of this gadget. So whatever remains idle, that if that can be networked and that can be used, then that creates a lots of space and local space. Local space means this transfer, migrations, retrieving, that becomes more easier. That requires this less time, less power. So this is also the concept of asset light mode. So asset light mode is if you have infrastructure, try to use that infrastructure to the best possible extent. Or if there is some idle, if you want to introduce some things, introduce some operations, try to see where there is these facilities and other things are available, and whether that is being used to the fullest possible extent. If there is surplus or residual capacity, and try to use that capacity for your purpose, only investing in operation. So this is the light asset management is a new concept. Now this needs to be nurtured in India, because most of this, these public sectors, big buildings, big land, these are going to be scarce in coming days. So all these things, how best that can be managed, there lies our this challenge of the management. Second is, there are many things are coming. You see, of the late, people are talking about blue ocean strategy. Blue ocean strategy means there's a famous book. Those who have read it they know it, and those who have not read it, my advice is kindly collect that book and read it. And there are lots of these videos and everything are available, because Blue Ocean now has become a community. Blue Ocean strategies talks about there are two types of ocean they're talking about. One is red ocean, another is blue ocean. Red ocean means the people they're fighting with each other to get the market space, and they are bleeding, and that's why the ocean is becoming red. And blue ocean means at the edge of these red oceans, one of the player, they have certain distinct advantage, and he is not facing any competition related issues. So he can have this abundant space for selling. So this is the strategy of this blue ocean, but there are lots of things associated with it. And the basic idea of it is you should have some this uniqueness or USP, that out of that you can stay ahead of your competition. And that is very much required, because every time if you in the education market also, in every field, any manufacturing sector, service sectors, everywhere, if you come to the market with the similar package or similar products, then the thing is definitely you have to fight for the market, and you have to this reduce your margin, you have to give lots of these discounts and all these things, and ultimately if it can become this counterproductive for you, and you may lose your sustainability, profitability, and business may be over. So this is one thing. Second is, there is a concept called Kaizen. I know all these management people, they know Kaizen. Kaizen means, you see, in country like India, where we call it a democratic country, we have to take into consideration the views of others. We have to take it whether it is correct or wrong, but we have to listen to everyone. We have to accommodate many views as much as possible. And here you see, if you plan to change 100% in one day, it may be disastrous. So we need to change the entire things in a planned way, maybe 1% for 100 days. There is the fundamental principle of Kaizen. Continuous improvement, continuous development. All on a sudden, you cannot have quantum jump, but you can have small, this movement in the forward direction to make it substantial over a period of time. And third is, you see, there are other concepts also, because this Japanese concept of this management, these are coming in a big way. Ikigai is another concept. Ikigai concept is you have to find a place where your passion, mission, profession, vocation, they are they are having their this commonality. So most of the times, whenever we are nurturing a subject, be it management, be it medical science, be it social science, be it whatever it is, if it is not connected with our passion, motivation, all these things, that we have to do some things learning this subject. We have to love this subject. Then there can be, there's a culture of Ikigai. That is, this holistic improvement. So these are very much required now. This culture we need to bring to our management systems. You see, there are many other issues associated with it. If we look at our entire business scenario, the situation is that we are now at a certain point where the only option is getting transformed and getting reformed. There is no way of going back. We have to transform and we have to reform. Then only we can take this maximum leverage of the entire systems. And that's why the existing this culture of learning systems in management also, why I'm saying this, in management also, we are planning to introduce a concept of internship based this learning from the very beginning. To be a swimmer, you need to jump into the water. And then you have to learn first this basic idea of swimming. Then you can learn the theories, how to move your hand, how to take breathing properly to make your, the swimming skill better. But jumping into the water is the first and foremost requirement. Same in for management. You can learn many theories, many analysis, many statistics, many, this chart. But whenever you will be exposed to a certain business, you have to understand the business very well. How all these steps, all the processes are being, carried out, and how that can be improved. And then what are the theories for doing all these things? So this is nothing but a culture of, this flip learning system or a reverse learning systems. And here we have planned to identify the sector, because we need, the specialist. Maybe for pharmaceutical industries, we need management professional who are having, this deep idea of all the pharmaceutical related, this business, productions, R&D, quality controls, and all these things to manage the entire things in the most, this effective way. Similar for food, similarly for healthcare, similar for, these other areas. So we are planning, this to introduce this concept like this, and that we are working in these directions to make, this more useful, customized, this professional for taking care of the requirement. Why I'm saying this? Because after industry 4.0 will be over, there will be emergence of industry 5.0. And what is the basic feature of industry 5.0? The basic feature of industry 5.0 is personalization and customization. Your, this the additive manufacturing that is coming in a bigger way. You can have 3D printed house. You can have your house. You can design your own house, and you can have an exclusive this own house, the exclusively designed house for yourself. You can have exclusive designed, all sorts of things which you are using, be it your shoe, be it your clothes, be it your apparels, everything you can design it, and you can make it customized. For medicine also, customized polypill. For your case, the medicinal dose, that will be different. Maybe these, this generic name and all these things, maybe the same. But for your case, dose and all these things, that will be different. And that can be, that can be done by, that can be developed by 3D printing method. So all these are coming in a big way for transforming and disrupting the situation further. In digital technology also, the emergence of augmented reality and virtual reality are coming in a big way. This teleportation of image, augmented reality, virtual reality, driverless car, then hyperloop, smart cities, all these are coming. So for that, we need to develop a large number of professionals for managing all these things. By 2030, the existing way of doing things, most of the things, that will be abolished, and there will be emergence of new things. Then there will be people who will be required, there will be requirement of people for managing climatic change and these disasters, because these are, this writing on the wall. Because of global warming, because of climatic change, lots of, these disastrous things are going to happen in near future. So how to take care of all these things, how to make it predicted, how to, take, this right intervene, this action at the very beginning, how to arrange for migration, how to arrange for shelter. So there's a big management issue is there. So these are, this futuristic management requirement. So this, I focused on, these applications of management knowledge for transformations of unorganized sectors. Then technological, this application of management to management knowledge to take care of these digital-based technologies. Then futuristic technologies, application of management knowledge, and then management of startups, management of intellectual property right, management of these innovations. These are very much required. There are maybe these many these sub points or other these secondary features associated with it, but these are the major this requirement as far as our management knowledge is concerned. We need to this change our existing way of teaching learning systems by adopting more this practical based learning, internship-based learning, case study-based learning from the very beginning, and sector-specific or this area-specific knowledge of this management knowledge for managing these areas in the best possible way. So with this, I would like to conclude. I think this digital, there is another point, this management of this attention span or mind. That's why we need to support or supplement all our digital lecture with right dose of animation, graphics, and multimedia. For today's generation, for Generation Z, Millennium generations, attention span is very limited. That is also another thing needs to be managed. This attention span is limited means whatever you want to do, you need to do it within the shortest possible time. That's why long lectures, long videos, long classes, 1 hour classes that are going to be, this counterproductive or less productive. We have to split it. We have to make it, this in a small format, in capsule format, in condensed format, in short formats. That's why in online lectures, you will see most of the lecture duration of 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. They do not give lectures for all these online MOOCs provider, massive open online course providers from edX, from Coursera and other platforms for lectures for this long duration. Short lectures, more discussions, more peer-to-peer network, this development, more this flip learning culture, all these things. So what I foresee, we will be requiring numbers of management professionals for managing different aspects of this entire country. And let's hope by jointly working, by contributing to our best possible level, we will be doing to do something at least in this transformative and reformative process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Moitro. And I will once again welcome Dr. Daw to take this forward.
Okay. Now, the summary part of this lecture session, what do we understand? That Sir told about the webinar discussion in February. It has some advantages, and we connected to the Facebook, social media. Communication is very important nowadays, and it has some benefits to the physical mode, because we all know the connections with students are more exciting, and we are also using the more tools, gadgets. And what part of that things that told that physical connectivity is not existing. Now, talking about the management science, there was phenomenal change since 2000. We all have the digital presence. Particular phase he talked about the after 2005 total transformation change. He also talked about Industry 4.0 automation and analytics. We need to change our perception of managing the industry. He also talked about. He also described the marketing, why digital marketing and social marketing is much more important nowadays. He talked about the students as well as the faculty members, the learn, unlearn, and also learn, understand many things, and for that open minds required. Everything is changing so fast, and within a short time, everything has changed. Another point, he talked about the move and continuous innovation, adoption is required. Learn a lot of things. And he talked about many times the concept on design thinking and innovation, where development is required. Development of society is also very much important. So I talked about the unorganized sector that are continuously contributing to the industry. Vendor system, he talked about the vendor system, and he talked about the designing things, marketing, development of small business, talked about the bottom of the pyramid. Our management knowledge must be implemented on practices, managing industry 4.0, better understanding of artificial intelligence that in industry 4.0, better understanding on artificial intelligence, better understanding of cyber security, understanding of blockchain, understanding of importance of the data science. Management of students need to have the latest development, and India needs to concentrate on food sector, healthcare sector, where telemedicine is nowadays, it is present, but it requires significant applications in management. We need to apply technology, smart farming, soil technology, seed management. Sir talked about the land was the land was it was there, the land, but nowadays we are facing scarcity of land. So we need to think about the industry, the startup, and we need to get more knowledge-based industry. We must save our environment from pollution. So we must focus on the startup where the patent, we have to register our patents, property right, registration, and which were now at present absent in India. Actual innovation is not happening nowadays. We need to concentrate on innovation and chain stores of food, chain store, food store that already the US company they also have. But more precisely, he has talked about the asset management that we can, if we can manage our asset, we can also reduce our overhead. We can try to manage the operations management. So this also edge computing entire capacity of gadget, based use of infrastructure, he talked about, right use of infrastructure, blue ocean technology, he also talked about the blue oceans technology, that can also, we can also ahead with our competitor, where we can sustain and we can get the profits from the industry. Kaizen he talked about, Ikigai he also talked about, where holistic improvement is required, no way to going back. And also he talked about in the management education that internship based learning is very, very required, where the theory based as well as the case study based and side by side internship based learning is very much required nowadays, where in 2030 all things will be that it will have no use, and we can think about the better technology for the days to come. So now there will be a question and answer session. The students, they already put the questions to share. We can also that whatever the questions they put, that we can get the answer from sir. Everyone, please keep your microphone. It creates disturbance. That also. Sir, first question, Prokka Devnath asked, it has been observed that some excellent students are adopting their careers in management, whether it will destroy their opportunity in research work in core science subjects.
I could not follow. Opportunity for destruction, huh?
Opportunity, because more and more students, the good students, they are adopting the career in management. So whether it will destroy means that whether it can have some hamper in the that research in the core science, that because it is the business purpose in the
No,
management.
this is management. You see, management is applicable everywhere. For research also, research management, that is the technology management, research management, that is required. If anyone wants to take up a project, then how the project has been identified, how the project has been scheduled, how all these data, all these researches that can be this network and all these things, that requires the massive management. It is not like that management is required for each and every these cases, be irrespective of your profession. Even for this living a very successful, very effective and happy life, we need to manage our this entire life process. That this, and that's why this we need to have a better time management. We need to have an idea of opportunity cost, that we are doing the best things at this at a particular moment. Then we need to have this idea of this how we can project, how we are seeing ourselves within the 3, 4, 5 years, or maybe the short terms and long terms, how we are managing our funds, how we are managing our leisures and all these things. So these you know, each and every field you will find this management. Only things, there are certain, you know, these groups of people with formal management qualifications. They traditionally they were supposed to take up certain works, but in the coming days, each and every work with the will be embedded with management science. Until and unless it is not properly managed, it is not, you know, this effectively managed, you will not have 100% efficacy or best efficacy or efficiency, whatever you are doing. So that's why this is the wrong concept. You can have management ideas, because you see, management is such a subject, you can be self-taught also. There are plenties of, you know, these resource material, course materials and all this, and that is not deterring you for, you know, this taking up your research activities. And if you have a better management idea, then you can be a successful researcher. In today's context, it is not like the days of researchers who used to do work 200, 300 or 100 years before. They worked in isolation, they worked and developed certain things, and, you know, this they became ecstatic. Now if you see a paper at Nature, you will see there are 25 to 30 authors from maybe 10 universities. So how this big, you know, this network, this ecosystem, that can be managed? So if you, in today's you know, this context, if you want to do something good, something great, you will have to have a better idea of management. So that is equal.
Another question from Sumita Sarkar, that she is asking, will manager's job be technical oriented in future? If it will be technical or machine oriented, then the intuition of what managers apply, will it be stopped? Because in the old days, the managers, they all are depends on the intuition based, whatever they have been the coming power situation based. So
You see, there are two things. For all these technical job, production related jobs, machine operated jobs, there are, you know, these lots of, you know, these management studies in the form of capturing of data, analysis of these data to take right actions, all these things. But intuition and all these emotions, emotional intelligence and all these things, that can be applied for motivating people, for taking care of, you know, this, you know, this people's mindset. So if you have, you know, the skill of both analytical and logical skill, and at the same time emotional skill, we are, this is, you know, this is the these combinations of left side lobe and right side lobe of your brain. So logical along with emotional, these two things, if these are blended, then you can have, you know, these are very, you know, the effective combinations for doing all these things. Ultimately, you have to manage people. And whenever you are managing people, you have to take care of all their inner engineering, inner motivations, you know, all these things. The psychological aspects, is there, you know, this their mental, you know, these mappings and all this. And at the same time, our machines and all these things, what are doing, they need to have a proper understanding of mathematics, then, you know, this data science, data analytics, statistics, then all these things. So that these two things are required. That's why in future, we are not focusing on a particular compartmental knowledge. Future is learning of everything. Learning of everything means the boundaries of or domains of different subjects, these are getting abolished. Now, in near future, science, humanities, commerce, creative arts, all these things, technology, all these things will be blended. And that's why the blended format of learning systems, you need to acquire, you know, this, maybe in certain areas you will have your core competencies, but at the same time, you need to acquire ideas, basic ideas of other areas as well. Then you can have effective combinations or synergistic, you know, this development and growth of the entire things. If you can have a better network, combining your strength with other strength.
So last question, because the students, they ask more questions. The last question, that it is observed, because their perception that management courses are now more towards technical oriented, and in future, whether it will be difficult for the medical students for adoption.
No, this is, you see, management course, I am telling you one thing. I told you at the very beginning, people are not giving that much emphasis on your, you know, the certificates and degrees and all this, because what your attitudes, that matters, you know, this most. That's why you see in probably in Microsoft or Google, when it was asked why they are paying so much salary, huge salary to the chief executive officers, they told their method of assessment is they ask about the failures first and how you are managing your failure. That you need to explain before this, this board. And this is very much required. You see, in today's context, you can acquire now because these digital platforms that has created unforeseen and abundance opportunity for us, for all of us. These opportunities means in the form of, this gaining knowledge. And you can have, these all these courses, videos, lectures available from top management institutes of the entire world. Be it, this Harvard, be it Penn State, be it name any institute. They're all lectures available, notes available. If you have the right mindset of upgrading yourself or acquiring knowledge, you can easily go. These are cheap, these are free. Most of these are free. You don't have to pay. Audit part is only if you want to take certificate, then you may have to pay. Otherwise, you can always learn all these things. Technical part is not that. Technical means, I told you at the very beginning, it is the era of blending technical part, emotional part, non-technical part are together. So you need to understand a little mathematics, you need to understand a little bit, this humanities, social science, and all these things. That's why only 3-4 days before, I had one webinars where chairman of NBA, Professor KK Agarwal was present. He was commenting on a particular aspect. That's why in our case, our countries, people are working in isolation. That's why most of the cases are becoming failure. Such Bharat Mission social scientists are designing technologists are not taking part in this, and in this project from the very beginning. That's why the project are getting, this non-viable or non-sustainable within the shortest possible time. So therefore, you need to understand, this, I'm repeating it again. You can have your basic area or core area, that is okay. You gain mastery over it, but at the same time, try to learn and understand other subjects as well. And for that, only use, this digital platform, internet, smartphone. Use your smartphone for upgrading yourselves on a continuous basis. You will see lots of videos are there, lots of, this YouTube, you go to YouTube. Without, this spending time in watching TV serials, you see YouTube videos and you will learn many things. All management lectures, many management lectures are available. Take a note of all these things, try to understand. Lots of books are there, very, very good, very numbers of books, these are available in management etiquette, lucidly written, beautifully written. These books are available, these are very cheap. You can purchase that, you can take it from library, you can read it at the internet. So in this way, you need to upgrade yourself.
Thank you, sir. Any question from the teacher side, faculty side?
Professor, there is another question. Professor Mitra, I think I met you in your office as well, twice or thrice in your Ceramic Institute office. There is a question from one of our students, Manoj. He's saying, are machine learning and AI threats to the job security and employment opportunity of technical staff and even senior executives? It's there in the chat box.
You see, when if you look at the history of human civilizations, when first industrial revolution happened, when machines came in the big way, then traditional art and crafts was replaced by machines. Then when assembly line, in second industrial revolution, when assembly line was designed, then small organizations, their, this role not that much, that were not that much relevant. So whenever there will be a change, there will be a disruption. And whenever there's a disruption, it takes certain time to getting, the entire thing settled. And there are other types of professions that emerges. That's what I commented. Machine learning and AI, they will replace certain works. Those works which are monotonous, which are hazardous, which are, these toilsome, troublesome, these types of works that can be replaced by machine learning. But for applying your mind, for applying applications of your mind in more prolific way, more innovative way, that part is always there. So there will be, this emergence of other areas, how you are managing the entire things. That's why, this happens in when, this automatic lift came, the liftsman who were there the traditional, these collapsible gate-based lift, their job was, this not there. But you cannot change the tide and time. You cannot oppose the charter. This will come. Now, our management skill should be utilized. How best we are managing this change. This change management is very, very important. And how people, who were there for doing all these jobs, they can be reskilled to take up certain, these higher order jobs.
Thank you, sir. Now it is a time for vote of thanks. Thank you, sir. On behalf of the entire Calcutta Business School, I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Saikat Mitro, VC of
Moitro, not Mitro.
Mitro, VC of Macaut, because this program cannot be completed without your presence, thought-provoking and inspiring words. I also thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the guests present today. I am also thankful to the core committee members of Calcutta Business School, Mr. Saurabh Ghosh and Dr. Bhatati Bhattacharya from
ডক্টর বৌদি ভট্টাচার্য কোথায় গেলেন? দেখতে পাচ্ছি না তো। আছেন?
from
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Sikshayatan Foundation.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
I would also
Thank you very much, Dr. Moitro. I think it has been very insightful. Thank you. I've been actually listening to everything. Sometimes I'm putting my camera off. Sorry.
আচ্ছা।
I would also like to thank.
These are logos of all different institutes under your leadership.
Yes, we have
Balika
four
Vidyalaya.
institutes, so you can see the logos right there.
Four, I can see 5 logos.
5 is the apex body, the foundation, and then the
Okay.
4 logos, 2 schools, 1 college, and the business school.
Okay. Very good.
I would also like to thank the students committee and the support staff. I have also obligated to the faculty members of the Calcutta Business School and the faculty members of other colleges, institutes. Your participation and suggestions always help us. Finally, I would like to say, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parambamba, Tasmai Sri Guru Namo. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Moitro, for your time
Thank you.
and
With your permission, I am leaving.
whatever you have said.
Okay. No,
Thanks
I have to go to my office for being physically present.
Yes. In fact, I think it was enjoyable also meeting you physically yesterday. That was good. And we'll again catch up. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moitro. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.